So, this may be some old news, but I did want to dive into some of the situations with the Montreal Canadiens from yesterday, because the Habs have a little bit of a break as they wait until Saturday's matchup against the Vegas Golden Knights. So, this kind of got a lot of people in interesting conversation from yesterday, because TVA Sports went out there and posted a video clip on Twitter of one Kirby Dacn. And you can see the quote on the video. Kirby Dacn is clearly not happy with his training. And the video is interesting because it goes out there and talks about Kirby Dacn and how he was frustrated with himself during practice on Wednesday. In the video, you can see him skating towards the bench, and while he skates towards the bench, he kind of picks up his stick and swings it back and forth like an axe quite a few times, and then he walks onto the bench, he sits down, and there also is a big swear word that he yells out too, that he said after getting onto the bench in the first place. So this clip went kinda, I don't know if it was viral. It had 45,000 views at the time of recording this audio, maybe it's at a bit more now, but essentially, the TVA folks were talking about how Kirby Dacn was frustrated with his practice. And there are some replies that are going out there and questioning whether or not this really is a big deal or not. The first reply from Eric Gaudry says, "I would like to calmly lose my temper like that. This video doesn't really mean anything." And then there are a bunch of other replies that I think are illuminating different ideas as well. He needs some time on the bench or in Laval. He's a big lazy guy. Is it me, or does he seem to be a professional sulker? Maybe he should go and regain his confidence in Laval. A lot of people going out there and spewing out different perspectives here. If you wanted my take on the video, I personally don't see anything in particular that is wrong with this video or this situation. Kirby Dacn might have just been having a rough practice and he skated off, kind of frustrated with himself, and he just let out a big F-bomb. That happens, right? It doesn't have to always be in a game where you can be frustrated with yourself. You can kind of mess up the drill once in a while and then you feel the same way. But the reason this is interesting is because this moment, the video clip and what happened with Kirby Dacn, was actually asked to Marty St. Louis, and St. Louis did respond. So I'll leave a link in the description, firstly to the TVA Sports video, but also to an article on tvasports.ca titled this, "Kirby Dacn must manage his emotions. His mind must be strong." This article is in French. I translated it to English via the Google machine. It talks about how Kirby Dacn has been a shadow of himself this season, and the signs of frustration are mounting. At practice on Wednesday, the center player didn't seem to be too much in his element. Visibly unhappy with his play, he hit the air with his stick before letting out a swear word on the bench. This is where the article links the same video that we talked about just a few minutes ago. After 19 games, Kirby Dacn only has 8 points, including 1 goal and a difference of -13. Yet, the effort is there, recalls the head coach of the Canadiens, Martin St. Louis. Kirby has a great attitude. It can be discouraging at times for sure, he said. You have to have your mind stronger than your emotions. That's what we were talking about. Kirby Dacn is emotional, so you have to have a strong mind. St. Louis acknowledged the obvious. Dacn is not the same player these days compared to before. His puck touches aren't as good as they used to be, he said. It's a confidence thing, a little bit. Sometimes a guy needs the puck to bounce for him. The work ethic is there. He'll be the first one to tell you his touches aren't as good. When you play without confidence, it's like you can't see clearly on the ice anymore. I've seen Dacn play when he could see everything and it's fantastic, but that won't come back overnight. And that's it. That's the entire article. That's the entire video itself. There is nothing else that we need to go over. Nothing. Zilch. Nada. But I did think this was a great thing to go out there and bring up in this video commentary, because when it comes to Kirby Dacn, I get a lot of people will be a little bit more hesitant to sing his praises based off of how he's played this season. As the article says, Dacn only has 8 points in 19 games played this season, on pace for, if you do the math over a full 82, a measly 34-point campaign, which is a little bit of a decline from the 38 points that he had in 58 games in 22-23. Now, of course, we recognize that Kirby Dacn missed out on the entire 23-24 season, so it's not like this guy's working with the biggest sample size possible in the last year and a bit. There is going to be some slow growth there. And for Marty St. Louis to go out there and say, yeah, I've seen him when he is on, he is amazing. He sees the ice very well, he makes some good passes, he is a playmaking beast. It kind of falls into what we had said about Kirby Dacn back in 2019 when he was draft eligible. Think Ryan Getzlaf with a little bit more of a finesse angle to his skating. Big solid right-handed center, lots of playmaking ability, lots of creativity with the puck, and a guy overall who will make a whole bunch of goal scorers on his line succeed more often than not. That was the Kirby Dacn identity back when he was drafted 3rd overall by Chicago. And so now to see this video going out there of him visibly frustrated, but I don't want to make it seem like, oh, he's raging, he's angry. No, he was kind of ticked off. I'll just use that phrase right there, ticked off. I mean, yeah, a lot of Canadiens fans would go out there and say that they're ticked off with the way Kirby Dacn has been playing as of late too. There was a brief stint towards the end of October where he was good, and then after that he went, what was that, 6 games without a point? Now I get that there was an entire line juggling thing that caused it to go down that way. It's why he was even given a chance to play on the first line in the first place. But ultimately, Kirby Dacn has been tossed out there in the ringer with a pretty inconsistent stat line and just a level of play that I think many fans could say there's improvement to be had. So for St. Louis even to call it out and say, yeah, he's not as good as he was, his puck touches are not as crisp as they were in the past, he isn't really making the best reads possible, and I even have the solution for that. It's confidence here. I think it is something that we should not take for granted just how open and honest Marty St. Louis can be, because a lot of coaches can give their cookie-cutter vanilla answers. Oh, Doc, like everybody else, has to dig in and get a little better and just bring that extra 5%, whatever, bring up all the sports cliches that you want. But Marty St. Louis is upfront and honest about it, and so for Kirby Dacn, ultimately I do think that this season has gone a little poorer than I thought it would, but at the same time, it's not necessarily surprising that he's taking a month or two to get back up to speed. In fact, I don't even know if Montreal Canadiens fans know what Kirby Dacn was like when he was fully up to speed, quote-unquote. I think a lot of people, myself included, saw Dacn as a potential 75, 80-point guy in his draft-eligible seasons. Like back in that time frame, we were saying, hey, if he could be the Getzlaf of the next generation, then that's going to be pretty good. He could be maybe a 70-ish assists per season kind of guy. I mean, that's not too impossible, especially if you paired him with some lethal goal scorers, like Patrik Laine, for example. But ultimately, this is the growing pains that we're going to have to see. Dacn is one of many that is a part of this U25 core in the Montreal Canadiens organization, and I want you to let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. How do you feel about this video that was going around of Dacn getting a little bit upset? How he's going out there swinging his stick, yelling out F-bombs, and Marty St. Louis responding to this in the media by saying that, yeah, Dacn is not as good as he has been. Or he could be, excuse me. What are your thoughts on this entire dynamic? Do you think it's a good thing, a bad thing? Do you think this isn't really a story that is worth talking about? That is all very fair. It's why I want you to let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. The article as well as the video will be linked in the description too if you want to dive into that and read more about it yourself. But I hope you enjoyed this video, and bye.